Hello, hello, hello. This is William here, your host of Is Your Boss an Idiot? Thanks for everyone that's listening and downloading the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. Got it out there on everything, Buzzsprout, Google, Apple, all the ones. I got to say Buzzsprout is fantastic. If you want to set up your own podcast, go down into my descriptions. You'll see a link in there. You can highlight that. Take that, go to that thing, and what you do, you sign up, you get it. You get a $20 Amazon gift card from Buzzsprout for setting up your own podcast. So check that out. Be greatly. Hey, appreciate it. Check it out. You can do it. Have some fun with it. But also, hey, just let everyone know I'm also out on Patreon. I said I'm on all these other podcast sites, to download, check it out. So look, spread the words. Tell your friends. Post it out there on Instagram, Facebook, what have you. Get the word out. Love to get some more listeners and build this podcast. And any of you have any ideas, sorry about that, any of your stories of your bosses you worked for in the past, that were just absolute complete idiots, a-holes, what have you, remember, you can just shoot me an email to isyourbossanidiot@gmail.com. We're working on the website, got the domain isyourbossanidiot.com, getting ready to kind of still working on that, trying to come up with some ideas on how we could do it and, funny stories and whatnot, possibly videos and what have you. There's a tons of things we can put on there. So getting there, working on that. So hopefully here in maybe about another few weeks, we can have that up also. You guys can start checking that out. So anyways, let's jump right into it. I got some couple stories here from a place I work from. This is a little while back. I was there for quite a while, for about almost 10 years. And this is the place, I think I've mentioned him before. This guy, he had, took over and bought the company from his father. Guy was super, super nice guy. The owner that the son bought it from, the father, whatever you want to call him. Super nice guy, sweetheart of a guy. Everyone loved him, treated his employees right. Knew everyone's name, go out on the floor, every morning, say hello, whatnot. And, and I'm of that mindset too. It's like, when you have employees, especially when you're a small company, you only got maybe 12, 15 employees. You should know everybody. Because you're a family, and you got each other's backs, you support each other. And, that's kind of one of the things I always did when, as I was in the director's position and managerial position. I made sure every day, go out there, say hello to everybody in the morning, talk to everyone, see how everyone's doing. And throughout the day, just talk to everybody and just see how things are going. People really appreciate that, respect that. Hey, you actually give two shits about them, and you did, and I did. I really care about it because these were great people, and, without them out on the floor, working the machines, working whatever, packaging, shipping, whatever have you, without them, you don't have a company, you don't have a business, people don't get a paycheck. So, you got to show that appreciation and gratitude, get them lunch every so often. It doesn't cost much. Buy them donuts once a month. Heck, spend $25, get a few dozen donuts. God, it goes a long way. People really appreciate it. It does not take much of your time, and just being considerate, showing that you really appreciate these people. But, anyways, the son took over, and kind of, you can see where this is kind of headed in regards to about the old man, going out and saying hello. His philosophy, he was, before he came back and took over and bought the company, he was working in New York City. Actually, he was in human resources. And, but he liked to have that image and portray that, and create this aura that, hey, that we were a Fortune 500 company. I always cracked up when he'd make the comment and say, well, I'm going to be off campus. That he was just leaving the building. We had basically, I think it was a 30,000 square foot facility, about maybe 2,500 square feet office space. The rest was, plant with, stamping presses and whatnot. So it always cracked me up. So I'm gonna be off campus. We're going off campus. So I'm like, oh my God, dude, we're not, some big, huge corporation here. You know what? Just say you're going to be out of the building for a while. But anyways, his thing is he never go out and talk to the people at all. He'd come in, go right to his office, sit down and start, doing whatever he did. A lot of times I caught him playing solitaire on his computer. But anyways, wouldn't go out back there and just show that he really cared about his employees. It was baffling. Everyone would always come to me about things. Everyone would come up and say, hey, Bill, hey, can you help out? Can you do this, and kind of work on this stuff, And I was always the liaison because no one would want to go talk to him, but they would want to come talk to me because they knew I cared. But anyways, so when you have a company that's that small, obviously, you know all the nuances, kind of everything that's going on. You're not just really, hey, knowing what your job is and focus on that and not really have an idea what everyone else's job is or what they're doing. Because when that's small, hey, you do whatever needs to be done. You wear many hats because, hey, small company like that, you got to do what you got to do. But, a guy was, about 6 years in, working or whatnot, he had this brilliant idea to bring in these consultants, these business consultants. They come in and, they go through the company, go through the business, see how things operate and whatnot, see where you can streamline things, see where you're able to make more money. It's just, obviously run more efficiently. Now, mind you, the people he had come in and do this had no background whatsoever in manufacturing. Not one iota. And my guess is, talking with the other manager there, we were probably thinking he probably dropped, 15, 20 grand on doing this little project. But anyway, these people had no clue about manufacturing, none whatsoever. How the nuances and the employees and the employees' mindset that work in these type of industries. They were coming up with all these ideas and not really asking questions, just thinking, oh, we do this, you do this, let's incentivize the guys this way. It's like, you don't get it. That's not what motivates these people on the floor. A lot of these people, all they care about is making just enough money to pay their bills and get their beer, whatever they want to do for the weekend, enjoy themselves and relax. That's all they care about. Overtime, whatnot, not really concerned. They're not really concerned about putting money in the bank. It's just not that mindset. It's just, hey, do all their own. It's no big deal. Hey, you know what? Each person lives the way they want to live it. But these people just did not grasp that concept. And they're like, they came up with this whole little thing. Here's the whole write-up. Here's the whole synopsis, what we did and typed up. And oh my God, it was stuff that we could have told the owner flat out that what he needed to do. And a lot of the stuff was things that we were actually already telling him what he needed to do throughout. He just wouldn't listen. But hearing these guys say it, obviously it had more weight to it. God forbid you listen to the people that actually work there on a day in, day out basis. But let's listen to the people you're paying 15, 20 grand to. But I mean, so any of the things that they came up with, I think for 3 months, 4 months, some of the things kind of started getting implemented or were tried to be done. But then after that, nothing was done. So he pissed away all that money. When he could have maybe done bonuses, done something like that, gave raises to the people out back. I mean, God forbid they hadn't gotten raised in I don't know how many years. Give them $1 an hour raise. You know what? It ain't going to kill you. I mean, that goes a long way. But no, he wanted to drop 15, 20 grand and have these idiots come in that have no clue about manufacturing and try and tell you what to do and how to run the company. I mean, it was just a joke. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was just, it's like, oh my God. It's like, hey, let's go to the guy that's a chef down the street here and have him come in and tell you how to run a auto repair shop. It's kind of one of those along those lines. It's just like absolutely baffling, just a head scratcher. And being at that company, there's, some customers we dealt with, and, kind of along the lines, well, okay, not so much the bosses, but this company, just a bunch of idiots. They had a product that we made for them that you had to get anodized after we made it, after it was stamped. You probably done so. And what happened is for individual customers, they had different colors. They would get anodized. Well, they had forever used this one person, this one company for, 20 some plus years. This one guy, and it was in a rundown building that was in a real shady part of town. How the EPA wouldn't shut them down, I have no idea. You're talking chemicals, all this stuff, but the place had been there forever. And God, I hate to do a soil sample on the grounds around the building or underneath that building because Lord have mercy. I don't know how anyone there did not get cancer and die within 5 years because, no one wearing masks, no nothing. It was just a spectacle. You'd walk in just scratching your head going, how the hell does a place like this stay open this day and age? But this company, got these things, like I said, they probably had about 6, 7 different colors. And there's only had some main ones they used. Well, when we started doing it, because what happened was we had bought I said the owner, he bought over this smaller stamping company because the owner was retiring and he didn't have any, one to take over or anyone else. So, he bought it out because it had a nice book of business, what have you. So, but there's really only 2 customers in there that really made it worthwhile. Everything else was just all junk. It's kind of a big headache to really deal with. But So basically, this one of the big customers, the whole reason by the company is, they're the ones, they have these, cards, and they got, stamped out of this aluminum, and then they'd get anodized. And customer again, well, like I said, they used this one anodizer forever, for 20 plus years. It's the only one they had. Never bothered to go out and look at it. And we come on in, one of the first things we start telling them, and we tell them repeatedly, is the fact is, you need to have a second anodizer. Because what happens when this guy, he's got no succession plan. There's no one below him, to take over. He's got no kids. He had a real bitch of a sister that worked there. Oh my God, this woman was horrendous. I mean, absolutely horrendous. It's one of those people, it's like, you didn't want to go there because you just had to deal with this person. And she was one that needed to be on meds too. And it seems to be that I have this knack of dealing with and having to work with people that need to be on fucking medication. I don't know what it is. I'm just seems to be a magnet for him. But this woman was the worst. Like I said, it was one of those ones you didn't even want to go there and deal with it. And if you walked in and you didn't see her, you're like, thank God, because you just didn't want to deal with it. And here's a kicker. It was the owner's sister, and he knew how much of a bitch she was. He knew it, and he didn't care. He just laughed it off and thought it was funny because I think he was actually scared of her and didn't want to do anything about it. But, I mean, it was just absolutely baffling. But anyways, so we kept telling him. So I actually then cultivated and found another anodizer. I had to go to about 10 different ones to find one that was willing to do it just because of the quantities. And just kind of a little background for you. Anodizing parts is not a volume type business. You're not doing the quantities we did where it was in the thousands. When you anodize stuff, it's usually like 5, 10, 20, maybe 100 pieces. That's it. You're not doing these in the thousands. It's very difficult. No one would want to even tackle it. But anyway, so I found one that actually did because they actually were set up to kind of do some volume and stuff. They could handle it. They had the racks to do it. So, but had to match the color of what the original people were doing. And this is what the kicker was. In anodizing, there's basically one anodizing company in this whole country that sells the powder or the colors, whatever you want to anodize these colors. And they have a big chart booklet. It's got all these set colors. You would think to make things simple, that company would, okay, let's use that color out of the book. No, of course not. Let's make it really difficult and annoying. Let's mix up and make up our own colors. So none of their colors matched what were in the book. They were slightly different. So we got the second anodizer set up, but they could only end up turning out doing some basic colors that were like a clear, how do you mess that up, and a black, and there was a red. That was basically all the ones they could match. Other ones they couldn't even come close because you're trying to do it and having it in the tank. It's like it's a science to do it, and they couldn't do it. So I ended up doing some. But anyways, as the business was going, so they started to realize the fact is they were not charging enough money. So we ended up having to stop using them because the other guy was basically ended up charging like half of what the new people was because, again, they were running it how it should have been run. This guy was just running it. He didn't give two shits. He was running some shack down, on the east side of town that was just run down, and so he had basically no overhead, so he could get away with charging 12 cents to do it when he should have been charging 24 cents, 25 cents. But I mean, telling these people repeatedly that they needed to figure this out and go to a standardized color and get this thing, bang their heads against the wall. And here's what kills you: when they said, "Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know we have to. Yes, we know we have to." Then that was the end of the conversation. I mean, what idiots. I mean, how dumb can you be? You're setting yourself up for failure right there. And your supplier telling you flat out, this is what you need to do or you're going to be screwed. Because what's going to happen is down the road, no one's going to want to do it. You're going to be paying 10 times as much. But they just don't want to deal with it then because, again, you get these big corporations, they're worried about the here and now. Okay, what's it cost me here and now? I'm not worried about, a year or 2 years from now. That's someone else's problem. I'm just worried about what's going to be going now for the shareholders. What can we do? We need to save every dang penny we can because we need to cut those dividend checks. That's just like unbelievable, the mindset. I mean, it's just pure greed. And they wouldn't listen. I mean, I don't get it. It just absolutely baffling. I got, then one other thing regarding that company I was at, there was a gentleman that worked there, real prick. I mean, just, one of these guys that was just grumpy all the time, just disgruntled and killed me because he always, was one of the guys like you would see from, I guess, like the 50s or 60s, short sleeve collared shirt in the summer, or, with the pocket protector, or then obviously in winter, he's wearing the long sleeve, but tucked in real tight, hiked his pants up, beyond his belly button. tight, whatnot. Again, all these guys walked around like a stick up his ass. And, just total prick. I mean, he have his moments here and there. You can kind of get a chuck, but I mean, basically, he was just an absolute prick. He was Mr. Negativity. He's the guy that in your meetings, when you're having these things, all he does is bring negativity. Doesn't offer solutions. No. I'm just going to bitch about what's going on and not bother to say, hey, this is how we fix it. Drives me nuts. I mean, fine, yeah, there's a problem. Well, say, hey, here's the problem we have, but here's what I want to do to fix it. No, let's just sit there and just drag on and on about the problem and bitch and moan. I mean, total just fucking miser. But anyways, he had a son that ended up getting a job there. And mind you, this guy had been working there a long time. Probably, he was there before I got there. So, I mean, he'd been there a few years. But anyways, he gets his son hired. Kids, early 20s, late teens, early 20s, roughly like that. Super nice kid. Had a place. I think he was going to go in the Marines or, got his shit together at this time. Well, obviously, poor sap. He ends up getting hooked on meth. So what was happening is he was going out to do deliveries because that's what his job working shipping. He had to take the van out and go out and do deliveries and whatnot. He was going over, no matter where you're going, even if he was going like 50 miles out west, he'd come back and go all the way back through past us, back through downtown and go on the east side and go and find himself some meth. And he'd be gone. Somebody that should have been gone for like maybe, 30 minutes, 45 minutes at best. He'd be gone for like 4 hours because he was over there buying meth. And how we figured this out, how we knew is one of these other guys that was actually an apprentice in the shop ended up going with him one time for help or whatnot. And he actually took this guy with him to go buy the meth. And he parked out front and says, I'll be right back. And he was gone for like half an hour inside this shady-ass house. And you could tell when he came back out, the dude was saying, oh, yeah, man, he came back out. He was just tweaking his ass off. He was just all over the place. I mean, it's plain as day. You know what he was doing. So, so this goes on. And then, and obviously, people that have a little bit of a drug problem, they need money to buy the drugs. So what he was doing is on Saturdays, because we didn't work Saturdays, very rarely might, but anyways, on Saturdays do it, is he stole his dad's keys, and his dad, and this was kicked about this story, is he took his dad's keys, but his dad just thought he lost them. He looked everywhere for them, but he just, I lost my keys. I don't know how I did that, but I lost my keys. Well, his kid fucking stole them. Well, he was going in on Saturdays and actually set up with the scrap dealer to come and pick up scrap, and he was getting paid cash. The guy was coming and picking the stuff, they'd wait, and the guy would pay him cash for the scrap metal that we had. That was supposed to go in the bins in the back, so because in the metal stamping industry, you kind of calculate your cost and what your selling price is. You factor in what your scrap is because you back that out of the price because you're going to get that money back. You don't charge it off to the customer, so you're working out. So anyways, he was actually having this guy come in and that he would pay him cash and he'd go over to scrap. I mean, ballsy. But anyway, so obviously he gets figured out. Shit hits the fan, everything comes out. Kid's got to get fired, and the dad, the guy working there, all apologetic, whatnot. Now you would think that you'd just get rid of the dad too. You know what? I'm sorry your kids are, but you know what? The kid, basically, it was grand theft. I mean, it wasn't just talking a couple $100s. It was thousands of dollars. And you would think that, hey, the dad knew, didn't say, but anyways, you think about it. No, the owner comes and says, well, all right, well, he's gone. The kid's gone, obviously. Didn't make the dad pay back. Didn't do anything, but, so you would think that the dad would be, model employee, be doing everything by the book, doing what he's supposed to do, everything, mind his P's and Q's and the whole 9 yards. No, that didn't happen. He just got more and more pissed off because his kid was more stealing, just got worse and worse with the drugs. So he was taking out everyone at work. And one day he turned to one of the ladies in the back and just started screaming at her, saying all this really, really wrong stuff you just don't say to an employee. I mean, it was just horrendous. And finally he got fired. An owner strapped on a pair and fired his ass. And it was like, God, it took you forever enough. It's like, I couldn't believe it. But it's just baffling. This guy, the owner was kind enough to keep him on and not fire his ass. But, and just took advantage of it and just didn't do it. I mean, just, come on. I mean, idiot. Both of them. I mean, owner and that guy. I mean, that's when it's against the head scratcher. It just kills you. It's like, absolutely baffling. It's like, how do these companies, these people just get, it's just unbelievable. And and this is a guy too, the owner. I left there a few years back. I just couldn't work there anymore. One of the days, it's time to move on. I'd been there for 10 years almost. And it's like, no, I need to change the scenery. But while I was there, I was trying to, and, the name of the company basically had no reference to what the company did. If you said the company name, you would have no idea, well, what do you do? You can't tell from the name. So I was like, we need to do something with the name. We need to add something to it. We need to get some more description on the bottom with that. And he's like, get his pen. No, we can't do anything. We can't do anything. We can't change this logo. We can't, no, God forbid, no. Because of ego, because God forbid you change something, keep up with the times, even though no one knew what the hell we were or what we did. So I just saw this yesterday. They got a new logo. And guess what they did? Yes, they put more descriptive underneath the name of the company, actually saying what they did. Unbelievable. Now it could be the fact is the guy started hurting because, it sucks to hear this, but, he had to, as they say, a strategic partnership. Well, i.e., he had to sell either a large portion of the entire company to someone else because he just didn't, it was killing him or fundage, whatnot. He just couldn't keep the place afloat. So he ended up selling it to this other company. So, but they, guys, it's a strategic partnership. Yeah, you had to sell the company. Just be honest about it. I hate these big fluff words, all these people hide behind to make it sound important or some, shit like that. It's like, no, just have the balls to say what it was. You know what? There was the COVID situation, everything really put a strain on the company and the finances. And the only way to really keep the company in business open to keep everyone employed is I either sell the portion or so I had to sell the whole company to it. So I don't know. But anyways, so I don't know if they had something to do with these new people that came in, but I saw that and I had a chuckle. I just like, I'd sit there and bang my head against the wall for I don't know how many years it was trying to tell them that we need to do something like that. And everyone else agreed too, but he didn't know. But now all of a sudden that comes in and bam, there you go. They changed it up to try and tell you what it is. It's like, okay. Oh, Lord. Anyways, I got a couple other ones that got sent in. These are kind of some interesting ones. And again, it's like, you wonder how people get into these positions and, these decisions they make, and just these companies or someone owning the company and how they stay in business. This woman, she announced her pregnancy to her manager, let her know, hey, she's going to be needing some maternity leave and whatnot, obviously, because, you're having a baby and baby's born. You need to stay with the baby and bond with it and everything like that. And the mom's, needs to recuperate. Well, the boss, the owner of the company, came back and said, well, I'd rather replace her than deal with all that goes with a pregnancy and a pregnant woman and having the child and all that crap after the baby's born, the whole 9 yards. Well, a nice worded letter from their lawyer to the company got them a 1-year severance package and 2 years medical coverage for her and the baby. Good for them. That's just fucking ignorance. Here's a good one. A manager said that everything needed to be organized, labeled, free of clutter. Because that way, when you're fired or you're gone, the next person comes in, can step right in and start doing the job. Well, the next day that person came in, that manager was gone and fired. That kind of gives me another quick story regarding those morons that did the anodizing. They can't figure it out. Again, I'm sorry I jump around, but as you know, if you listen to my previous ones, I got ADD real bad, so my mind's always everywhere else, but so stuff will pop into my head. But anyways, the people that deal with the anodizing stuff like that, they had the same situation. This new person came in to run the facility and everything. And now, mind you, these anodized cards that we did for them, a lot of them went for government projects, and what they were utilized for, they were actually sourced and purchased by our government and other governments, whatnot, because of what it was utilized for. So documentation and keeping, all the documents for this project and for the history of these parts is critical. And not just like, only keep past coverage. You need to keep like the past 20 years of this stuff. Well, this idiot comes in and gets rid of everything. No, throw it all away. No, we don't need all this cards. No, you don't understand. That's government stuff. No, I don't care. Get rid of it all. That person was gone it only lasted about 6 weeks. Because it's just like, again, idiot. It's like, All these other people say, no, you can't. It's government stuff and information. We have to keep it. No, I don't care. And again, it's a boss or new boss coming in, new manager coming in, feeling like they have to put their own stamp on something and they need to stir the pot and change things up because they're new, because they got to, hey, everyone's got to know, I'm in charge. And this is the way it's going to be. This is the way I'm doing it, not the way the other person did it. When it was working great before, everyone was happy because either person retired or something happened, maybe won the lotto. But anyways, it just baffles me that in an ownership and higher up would come in and not tell this person, look, everything's been going great. We're doing good, so don't get too nuts with what you want to do. Run it by me and let me know what your plans are. Don't just also implement it. No, these people just come in and just F everything up. It's just absolutely baffling. This is an interesting one. The boss of the skunk company, they pitched the idea to the sales team, everything's an incentive, is that, hey, if we hit the team hit the goal, hey, get a trip to Cancun. So, hey, fired the team up. They exceeded the goal by a ton. They cleared it, no problem whatsoever. Well, guess what? They canceled the trip. These people, they worked for it, so all of a sudden they canceled the trip. Couldn't go. So 2 people quit immediately. This person, they accepted a position with the main competitor, and then I guess within less than a year, that whole company went closed and went bankrupt. See, karma's a bitch. It'll get you. So kind of one of those things. It's just kind of interesting how that works. And karma is a bitch. And it'll come back and get you. One way or another, it'll do it. So there's one. This small business, got 20 employees or less, whatnot. So the boss owner made a big speech about austerity and measures, and no raises this year. We got to keep costs. We got to pinch, tighten up the belts. Blah blah blah. Well, about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, he drives up in a brand new Silverado, basically a loaded one, with all the bells and whistles, the whole 9 yards. And obviously, expensive to the company and whatnot, because he's not going to take it personally. So he's let the business pay for it, save tax and whatnot. So obviously, after that speech, one of the people literally took a shit in front of this guy's store. They were so pissed. Everyone just laughed their ass off about it. It was just like, oh my Lord, that's funny. But one last one. This is, this is common. Again, I've ran into it. I'm sure a lot of you out there have ran into it where, one of the children take over, the parents or whatever ran the business, ran it accidentally, people loved it, whatnot, then the kid comes in and just F's it all up. Well, this person they worked, they had, where they lived, there was a local market, and it was owned by, husband and wife. Everyone loved them. The employees loved them. They treated them great, they, paid them way above what, average wage would be for working at that place. They were very active in the community, and they'd hire in kind of either high school kids or kids that were coming home from college, whatnot, and always come back and forth, and hire them right back. And if they needed to, working their way up to get the degree, to go on something bigger and better, they got hired there. After 6 months, they got 2 weeks paid vacation. And a lot of other times they would do is they, here and there, they just close the store down and have a big party for everybody. And then if you worked there, you got a 75% discount when you shop there. I mean, come on, it was a grocery store. It sounded like being a market. So, I mean, absolutely fantastic situation. So, well, unfortunately, as the story goes, they decided to retire, and they're going to move to a nice same place, relax, whatnot, and let their son take over. Well, okay, so they gushed about their son, and he's got this big, huge business background, blah, 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 went to some prestigious school, all this yada, yada, that kind of shit, parents gushing about their child, not really knowing the truth because they have blinders on. Well, as soon as he gets on, he got rid of all the people that have been working there, forever, and all the people that come in during their, school breaks and whatnot. Got rid of all them. Brought in all these junkies and whatnot. He brought them in for cheap. So, and he got rid of all the discounts, all the vacations, the whole 9 yards. Hired some of his high school buddies to manage the place so he can just go off and take all the profits and go and party and, get all coked out. It sounds like what they're saying is this guy must have had a big cocaine problem. So, and obviously turnover was horrendous because people would just come and go. So obviously every month they're having to retrain new people because no one wanted to stay because who wants to work for this fucking idiot? So shelves were always empty. People stopped shopping there. It just wasn't what it was. And people started complaining to the original owners. Hey, this is what's going on. Your kid's killing the place, whatnot. So they finally decided to come back. There's, okay, I guess, because obviously they probably weren't getting the money they should have been getting in retirement to fund the retirement because the kid, they weren't selling nothing. The kid was taking off. So like, what the hell, we need to go back and take care of this. Well, unfortunately, it was too late. They got back, and, within about 6 months, they just ended up having to close it. Whatnot. I mean, but from what he said, the last they heard, the son, though, was in trouble with the IRS. His wife was divorced because he caught him banging a stripper. What an idiot. I mean, just idiots. I mean, and you feel bad for the husband and wife, but I mean, and you hate calling them an idiot, but just you're an idiot because you have blinders on to what you actually think your kid is. I mean, it's unfortunate, and it happens more often than not. It's your children. It's your child. You love them to death, and you're going to think the best of them. But it just sucks that happens because, I mean, no matter what, you're going to love your kid, right? So, but it's unfortunate. So, but I'm going to wrap this podcast session up, this episode. I really appreciate everyone out there listening. Hey, I'm trying to work on getting my wife on here, too, here in a couple weeks. I got the stuff on order so we can actually have 2 microphones and maybe improve the sound a little bit. Because like I said, I'm just really kind of getting this thing up off the ground. But trying to improve it as we go. But so I'm going to try and get my wife on here. She made some comments about wanting to come on. And because I know she's got some doozies and some stories too. And hey, what's better than one? Hey, 2 of us on here talking about is your boss an idiot? So hey, again, I appreciate everyone listening. Spread the word. Get it out to your friends. Put it out on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Post it on Facebook. Hey, check out this podcast. Let's do it. I really, really appreciate it. Like I said, we're everywhere. We're all over the web on all the podcast posting sites. Buzzsprout here, Google, the whole 9 yards, all of them. There's a bunch of them out there. So I really appreciate it and look forward to hearing and speaking to you guys next time. Have a great one. Take care. Later.